going on? I decided to change the venue a little bit for this particular video because I wanted to change the pace. It's a warm day, pretty nice day outside, so I said, what the hell, I'll do it outside. What I want to talk to y'all about today is the ramifications of feminizing men. Well, rather feminizing little boys, because that's where it starts with. I got a lot of female friends who I see the way they treat their sons and their nephews, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't approve of some of the things that I see them do, and some of the ways I think they coddle those little boys. See, you gotta understand something. No real woman wants a wimpy, soft, effeminate male. Because any woman that is attracted to that probably has a secret desire to like women. Because those are female qualities. I'm not talking about the weak part, because women aren't weak. I don't stretch the imagination. But I mean, the little extra sensitive, effeminate ways, that's something that we usually attribute to females. And I think the problem is because daddy's a punk. Daddy's a punk because he feels as though that because he's not with mommy anymore, he doesn't have to support the child either financially, emotionally, or any other way that he's supposed to as a man and as a father. He feels as though because he's angry at her, he's not supposed to do his part as a father to that child. Let me say something to a lot of you guys out here. Listen, regardless of how you feel about that woman you had that child with, that relationship between you and her has absolutely nothing to do with your relationship with your kids. Therefore, if daddy punks out and is not there for his kids, this is the reason why you have all these things you see going on now with a lot of these little boys and these little girls. A lot of little punk ass little boys. And when they don't have a model to look at and say, that's what a man is. See, I didn't have my father in my life. I had my stepfather and my grandfather. My stepfather was a man of few words, but the one thing he did was lead by example. What I mean by that is, I didn't see any effeminate behavior coming from him. This is what I did see. Now, while he may have, in the entire time of my childhood, spoke maybe 2 paragraphs to me the entire time, he led by example, by going to work every day, by coming in the house and handling his business every day. And that's a lot of times is more important than a bunch of words, because actions speak louder than words. And a lot of times, a lot of you parents out there, you tell your kids, do as I say, not as I do. And that's nonsense. But if that little boy doesn't have an example of manhood in his life, it don't have to necessarily be from the father, it could be from an uncle, grandfather, somebody, some male needs to step up to the plate and be a good example of manhood to that child. Because I'm telling you, you're going to have a generation of little effeminate boys. Little boys who never really grew up, and they think the world owes them something because they were coddled their whole life. And meanwhile, in all these other countries, they're not treating their little boys like that. They're raising their little boys to be men. Men. So once you have a generation of a whole bunch of little punk-ass little boys growing up to a bunch of punk-ass little men, it's real easy for another country just to come in and take over, because where are your warriors at? You don't have any. You didn't make any. You didn't forge any in the fire of manhood. You didn't do it. So now you got to deal with these little punk-ass little boys running around here thinking they men, having a piss-poor example of what a man is, and I can almost guarantee you that if his father didn't take care of him, he's not going to understand the importance of being a father to the kids he's going to make. Now, I'm going to talk about how a father's role is important when it comes to the little girl. See, I don't have a son. I have a little girl. She's the most important thing to me in my entire life, for real. And it's important for me that I'm there for her as a male role model, as a support system for her, so she can see how a real man conducts himself, how a real man acts. Because I don't want my daughter with some little punk-ass dude when she grows up. And don't get it twisted. I don't want my daughter with a thug either. Thugs are stupid. Thugs are idiots. I don't want my daughter with a thug. But I want my daughter with a man with a plan that'll beat your ass with his hands. That's what I want my kid with. So as a result, I have to show my daughter that in my character, because 9 times out of 10, little girls have a daddy complex. My sister had it. My female cousins, they have it. Most females I see, they have it. And if daddy's not there to give them that attention that they desire from a male, she's going to seek it elsewhere. And a lot of times when she goes to seek that attention, it's from people, males, that are man-childs themselves. They haven't grown up either. And they on some bullshit for real. And they don't know how to be a man. And they don't know how to treat a woman. So they're going to mistreat your little girl. So daddy, don't leave. Even if you and the mother don't get along, because me and my daughter mother don't get along, we don't argue anymore, or we don't say too much to each other. If it ain't about my kid, I really don't have too much rap for her. So, but, because to me it's more important, my relationship with my child. And that's what I'm trying to tell all of you fathers out there that not doing what you're supposed to do. You need to step your father game up. You need to step it up, because we losing a whole generation of kids out here to that nonsense. I was fortunate because even though my father wasn't there for me, it affected me the opposite way. Because I never wanted my kid to say the things about me that I said about my father. And even though as I got older, I found out certain things about my father's past and what made him into the individual that he was. So I learned to forgive him. It's not an excuse. It's a reason. But it's not an excuse. And I don't want my daughter saying the exact same things about me that I said about him. So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying, fathers, be a dad, man. Go pick your kids up, snatch your kids, teaching them life lessons that only you can give them, and be that example that only you can be for them. Stop being a punk. Stop running away just because you and mommy don't get along. To hell with mommy. It ain't about mommy. It's about the relationship between you and your kids, and that has absolutely zero to do with your relationship with her.